Welcome to Alpha Insights. I'm Jeff. Today we're looking at a fresh wave of state-level cannabis policy moves and what they mean for the sector. With me is Avery, a social media creator who breaks down market and cultural trends so they actually make sense. Avery, great to have you here. And hey, remember, if you have questions as we go, you can ask us at stockalpha.ai.
Thanks, Jeff. Happy to be here. There's been a lot happening on the state front, and honestly, it's the kind of policy news that ripples through investor sentiment pretty quickly.
So, give us the snapshot. What moved this morning and why it matters?
At a high level, several states took steps that lower friction for patients and providers. Mississippi's legislature cleared a reform that removes certain potency caps for tinctures, oils, and concentrates, and it also extends program ID windows. That bill has passed both chambers and now sits with Governor Tate Reeves. Nebraska passed a law by a vote of 30-7 that shields medical providers from penalties when they recommend cannabis to patients. And in Indiana, the governor said he's kind of agnostic about cannabis, which is a political signal that could lead to real proposals down the road.
Right. Interesting. And what's the immediate market angle here?
These are the kinds of legal cues that ease policy risk in a patchwork US market. When providers feel protected, they're more likely to participate, which usually increases patient enrollment and demand over time. When states relax product rules, you get broader product menus and potentially stronger retail activity. Analysts note that sector-focused exchange-traded funds and operators tend to move on that sentiment. So you'll often see flows into cannabis ETFs and names when several states line up reforms at once.
So it's not an overnight revenue story, but it shifts the backdrop?
Exactly. It's a policy and sentiment play more than an immediate sales spike. Implementation timing matters. Regulators still need to set rules, licensing agencies need to act, and clinics need outreach. All of that takes weeks to months. So the real question here is how quickly those wheels turn once a governor signs off.
And on that note, what should listeners watch most closely in the coming days and weeks?
Number 1, Mississippi's governor's decision and any follow-up rulemaking timelines. If Governor Tate Reeves signs the bill, watch for how the state agency defines potency limits and product categories. That will determine what retailers can sell. Number 2, track Nebraska's implementation. Will the provider protections actually lead to more doctors authorizing patients? Enrollment data will tell that story. Number 3, keep an eye on Indiana. A governor saying he's open to discussion often precedes committee hearings or bills.
Got it. And culturally, is there anything supporting these policy moves?
Yes, media and culture keep consumer interest top of mind. For example, High Times confirmed a new season of a popular show next month, which keeps the conversation in mainstream channels. It sounds small, but that kind of visibility keeps demand narratives active.
So from an investor lens, which areas could see the earliest reaction?
Sector-focused ETFs and regional operators often price in policy shifts first, because flows and sentiment adjust quickly. Also, licensed operators that already have a footprint or partnerships in Mississippi or Nebraska could see more attention. Though remember, analysts emphasize that regional regulatory detail decides who really benefits. And again, this is not trading advice, just observing how markets tend to react to policy momentum. One more caution. Federal law still constrains banking and interstate commerce. So even as states loosen rules, companies and patients still face national level limits that slow larger scale expansion.
Quick reactions. What timelines are realistic here?
If a governor signs quickly, regulators often issue rules in a matter of weeks to months. But effective changes in patient access and market share usually show up over several months, once providers enroll more patients and retailers roll out new products. It's gradual.
Interesting.
And to add to that, watch enrollment metrics in Nebraska and any licensing guidance from Mississippi for early signals.
Before we go, give listeners 2 or 3 concrete takeaways they can remember.
Sure. 1. State-level policy momentum in places like Mississippi and Nebraska is easing regulatory friction, which is constructive for sector sentiment. 2. Implementation timing. Governor signings and regulatory rulemaking will determine real market impact, and that can take weeks to months. 3. Cultural visibility, like media programming, helps sustain consumer interest, but federal restrictions remain a key constraint.
Great summary. If you have questions about anything we discussed today, you can ask us directly at stockalpha.ai. We answer listener questions live. And for more market insights, head over to stockalpha.ai. Avery, thanks for breaking that down.
Thanks, Jeff. Always a pleasure.